Hello, my name's Aime Valentin, and I'm here to take you through the artwork exhibition where we are going to be talking about different different artwork. First, it's a Ghetto, Donatello, Peter Paul Rubens, David Arthur Taille, Edward Manet, Olympia, Picasso's La Demoiselle d'Avignon, and I will make a comparison between Edward Manet's and the Picasso's La Demoiselle d'Avignon. So let's get started. Let's first see the Ghetto's Lamentation. This was a portrait from by Ghetto di Bondon, which was published in 1305 in the 14th century. It is one of the famous portraits in different many churches, which shows when Jesus was being taken from the cross and Mary was holding him before the burial ceremonies. So there is on this picture, there is Mary Magdalene, there is also angels and the other different people mourning for Christ. And you will see how the background of this picture is simplified. The ideas of naturalism and individualism are reflected in these pictures. So let's try to look at this picture more closely. So when you try to look at this picture, you will see that the main characters is Jesus. How will you will see that? You will see the landscape in the background. You will see a kind of landscape that goes down to the left to make the viewer to grab the attention of the viewers to the central character, which is Jesus. You will also see different people. You will see the angels in the sky. You will see other people like Mary Magdalene, like these two old men standing just behind, and the other two old men which is who are sitting, and the other men, other people there, they're trying to have their own way to show how painful the death of Jesus is. Um, like when you try to look closely to Mary, you will see how she has her arm in the chest of Jesus, and she's actually on the face of Jesus, like she's trying to tell him to wake up. So you will see that different people have their own way to show how the painful, the agony, to show how their emotion towards the death of someone, to the death of someone who is closer to them. So you will see that the angels, some of the angels are looking in the sky, some are holding their hands on the cheek, as well as the women, the humans also. Some are throwing their arms in the air, and others are holding their hands looking at Jesus. Others are holding their hands against their cheek. Just that is the sense of individualism. That is sense of having everyone has his or her own way of showing their emotion and their feelings. When you try to look at these two men, sorry, when you try to look at these two men sitting just aside Jesus Christ, they we can see their faces, which means the idea of in naturalism, where with naturalism, where we have many things in our daily life which can't give us a meaning or any definition, but we try to we understand them as they are, and we took them and we use them as they are. That is the idea of naturalism. When we go Donatello's David, this is a sculpture or portrait of Donatello di Nicola di Beto Bardi, who is known as Donatello, and it was published in 1440, I mean 15th century, and it is a portrait of David after defeating Goliath. It's a story which is in the Bible, which is a victory of David against Goliath. Goliath he was a giant, a soldier giant, a commander of many soldiers, and David was a little boy. And thanks to God, David was able to defeat Goliath. And when you try to look at this picture, also you will see that it is Roman and the Greek style of depicting nude bodies, This picture, this portrait, this sculptures was the freestanding nude body after the antiquity. So David became a sign of peace and victory to the Florentine people. Let's see on this picture more closely. On this picture, you will see that David is standing in very relaxed contrapostal uh, position with his left arm on his hips and one of his right arm holding the sword and his left arm holding the stones, and this the stone and the swords represent the wars and the wars and the battles that the Florence kingdom was fighting with its neighbors, including the Duke of Milan. So this sculpture represented the victory of Florence people against the Duke of Milan. Duke of Milan, who were actually they had a very strong army, but Florence was actually involved in trading, and it was a kind of peaceful nation. But um, uh, Duke of Milan would have defeated it, but Florence uh, went home with victory against the Duke of Milan. So they consider themselves as heirs of the Roman Empire because thanks to God they actually defeated Duke of Milan, which was kind of miraculous. So you will see that David, his left leg is against the head of Goliath, and he's nude, and his position is reflecting how pride and how confident he was after defeating Goliath. So this picture had become a symbol of peace, a symbol of liberty, a symbol of freedom to the Florentine people, and it is also a symbol of a victory against different nations which tried to invade France Republic. So let's see the other picture. This is a portrait by Paul Rubens. It was published in 1610 in the 17th century. It is when you look at this picture, you see the masculine man with strength, with very much force, trying to raise Jesus' cross. And this picture, this portrait it is 15 feet, and it is actually hanged on above the altar of Antwerp Cathedral of Our Lady. And when you try to look at this picture, you see that it is kind of Baroque style, which is kind of theatricality. You see that actually this cross is very heavy, and you see how masculine, how strong the men who are trying to raise this picture are. So you will see also that there is kind of Flemish or Nathan tradition is reflected in this picture. We will see also that the power of Jesus, the divinity of Jesus, is reflected in his body. How how heavy his cross was. It is that reflection of how powerful he is, or how divine, how majesty he is. So let's try to look more closely at this picture. So by looking at this picture, we see that kind of diagonal line. The cross of Jesus is placed in diagonal line of this rectangular portrait, which also grabs the attention of the viewers to look more closely at the central character, which is Jesus and his cross. And you will see also the pyramid of figures. I mean, you will see this on the legs of Jesus, this masculine man, and the other men who are trying to raise the cross of Jesus. You will also see the Roman soldiers trying to help these men to raise this heavier cross of Jesus. So let's see also on this picture, it is David's Oath of the Holotype. It is portrayed by Jacques Louis David. It was published in 1785, just 4 years before French Revolution. It is a portrait that tells more about the history of warfare between Rome and Alba, which was which was a history between the wars, the battle that Rome was fighting against its neighbor Alba, where as warfare they chose to send for the two groups from like one group from each side. On the side of Rome, it was these Horatii brothers, and on the side of Alba, it was Curatii brothers. So they had to fight, and whoever who had to win the war, the battle, then Rome or Alba would have to win the war. So as the story went on, the Horatii defeated the Curatii from Alba, which means that Rome defeated Alba in kind of fairy. So uh, the David uses Roman and Greek style, and this picture was published in a time when uh, there was aristocracy in France. Aristocracy government was dominant in France, and the people in monarch were living a luxurious life. Yet France was in the bankrupt. So it was the dawn of a revolution which had to take place in 1789. So let's try to look at this picture more closely. So in this picture, you will see the style of this picture. You see, first of all, you will see that the three brothers are trying to grab the sword from their father, and you see other relatives behind trying to mourn for they could lose their brothers, and also one of these two female relatives to these brothers, her husband is from Curaçao, so she was risking to lose either of them. Either she had to lose her brother or her husband. So as the story tells us, after Holotai defeated Curaçao, then the husband of this woman died, and she was grieving, and because of that grief, one of her brother killed her because these brothers they believed in patriotism more than the feelings for their family. So also on this picture you will see that uh, he David tried to use the linear perspective in order to create an illusion of space. You will see it trying to you will see also the shadows of these three brothers, and they are like in the house. You see that it's a kind of illusion of the space. It's like they are in the house. They are trying to show us that there is a space. There is a space between these three brothers and the walls and behind them. So there is kind of use of linear perspective in order to create a graphic that creates an illusion of space. When we try to see Edward Manet's Olympia, um, this is a picture of, let's say, nude women, female women, and it was published in 1863. And it's a modern nude female because in antiquity or with the Roman and the Greeks influence, the women wasn't presented like this. They were presented nude, but with too much exaggeration, um, with too much perfection. When you had a chance to look at Venus, the way Venus was presented, there is too much exaggeration in her beauty. But this woman is so simple. You see, she's normal. She's her beauty actually is not idolized. So she's normal woman. And when you try to look at this woman, she's actually um, looking closely to the viewers, which also grab the attention of the viewers. The angularity and asymmetric of face make her real to the viewers. There is no much perfection, there's no much exaggeration in her beauty. She's normal, she's more than female nude. And actually, Olympia means prostitute. So she's kind of prostitute. When you try to look closely at her, you will see how she's actually lying on her bed in a very relaxed manner, and you see the black housemaid trying to bring for her the flowers, which maybe these flowers were from her customer, and you will see a cat on her bed, which shows how much which shows that though she was a prostitute, but she was kind of high class prostitute. So when we try to look at the historical background of this picture, you see that it was in 18th century. It was published in 18th century when the industrial development was at high speed, and many people were losing their jobs because of the improvement and the development of machines. So many women try to find other means of where they can find some maybe the jobs. So they try to get involved in the prostitution. So that's why um, uh, um, David tried to show these women as prostitute and in nude body, trying to look as she's actually directly looking at the viewers, which also grab the attention of the viewers. And she's a high class prostitute, lying on the bed in a very relaxed manner with her lips are partly closed and her eyes are wide, and her right arm on the pillow, and the other arm, the other left arm trying to maybe on her thighs, like she's actually in a relaxing manner trying to look at us. She's the housemaid. When you try to look at the housemaid is actually interested in her boss, but the boss or this woman Olympia, she's not actually interested in her. She's actually interested in we the viewers, which also grabs the attention to look at her. Let's see the other Picasso's Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. So this was a portrait by Pablo Picasso, the father of Cubism, and it was published in 20th century. Pablo Picasso used the mask uh, to reflect the French colonialism in Africa. This is a representation of brothers in Avignon. Avignon is located, it's not in France, though Picasso was in France, but Avignon is in Spain. So in this time, in 20th century, there happens many things, many bad things. Actually, there happened the war, two world wars. Dictators were in that time. Um, the capitalism were trying to be spread around the world. There happened many different things which are bad, and these bad things, bad life, they led to the people to lose their jobs, and um, the, the unemployment problem become very challenging, and that's why also the women try to look at how they can earn some money to make life, and they involved in prostitution. So this was a presentation kind of representing brothers where the women could be accessed by different men, and they would have to be paid some amount of money in order to make life. So by trying to look at this picture more closely, you will see that Pablo tried to use Cubism, which is according to TED.org.uk, it is a kind of architectural style which has an aim to bring different views of subjects, usually objects or figures, together in the same picture, resulting in paintings that appear fragmented or abstracted. So Pablo is considered to be the father of Cubism because of this picture. So by looking at closely at this picture, you see that on the right hand side you will see two women in the African masks, and this African mask, it's not uh, actually Pablo didn't get the chance to to go in Africa, but these two masks reflect the French Revolution. It was when the French was colonizing many African countries, and they were actually transporting or carrying this mask from Africa to France. We will also see different um, women, nude women, and you will see different maybe the bracelets or other kind of bearings of these women, because this was brothers where the women could access them. So there could be different beads or bracelets or other kind of things that that these women could use in order to attract the men. You will also see how this style, this style of Pablo of Cubism tried to also incorporate some linear perspective in order to create some kind of space. You see that there is kind of curtains behind them, there is kind of space behind them. So he tried to use this kind of cubism in order to create some space on the 2D, on two-dimension or canvas. So when you So let's compare these two paintings, one called Olympia of David Manet and another one called Les Demoiselles de l'Avignon or Young Ladies of Avignon by Pablo Picasso. So let's begin by the first one, Olympia. As you can see on this picture, it was painted by David Manet in 1863 in the 19th century. And Manet got the inspiration from Titian's Venus of Urbino. But with this picture of Titian, Venus of Urbino, there is too much exaggeration in the beauty of Venus, and there is like the perfection in her beauty, which is something which is not actually this woman was not actually normal, because there is too much perfection, too much exaggeration in her beauty. But when you look at this Olympia, you will see that she's kind of normal woman. There is no idealization in her beauty. She's a modern representation of beauty, of what is called beautiful of women. And you will see that by looking at this painting, you will see how she's lying on her bed with her right arm on the pillow, and the left arm covers her genitals. She's actually in a relaxed posture, with her eyes directly looking at the viewer to interest or to grab the attention of the viewer. You will see how her lips are pale or closed or too thin. With like, she's actually normal. She's actually the modern, the real woman. And you will also see the black woman, the black housemaid, and this symbolized the colonization of France in most of the African countries. And the woman. She's actually interested in her boss or the the Olympia, but Olympia is not actually interested in the women. By looking at her eyes are directly looking at the viewer, which grabs the attention of the viewer. Also, David Manet have used the linear perspective in order to create an illusion of space. You can see that there is a bed, there is a cat there, there is women out on the other side of the bed, which creates something um, a space in that room. Um, as you can see that in this time when David was painting this kind of picture, he wanted to strip away of the academic techniques of representing the nude women. So in this time, the only the painting which follows the model of Renaissance of the antiquity were the ones which had like had the value or the market value. They were the ones which were being officially approved by the government, because there were too much exaggeration in the paintings of Renaissance and Antiquity. But David Manet wanted to create something which is real, something which reflect the modern or the contemporary times where he was living in. So in this time, there was one artist called Charles Baudelaire, who wrote a book called Painter of Modern Life. So there was a movement of artists who wanted the right to paint their everyday life, or something, the situation in which they were living in, not painting the mythology or the myths of God, which maybe they didn't even know, but they wanted to actually to paint something that they were sure of, they knew there's something which were current. So that's why David Manet tried to simplify this picture and make it a painting, not something with too much exaggeration like that Titian Venice of Urbino. Um, by looking at on the right hand side, there is a painting of Pablo Picasso. This painting was published in the 20th century. Um, Pablo Picasso got the inspiration from all the works of Cezanne and Matisse, uh, which were presenting actually also the nude, the female nude in different parts. But when you try to look at Cezanne picture, you will see that he also used to create an illusion of space by using linear perspective. You will see those women on the lying on the ground with, like, there's something like space. But Pablo Picasso used what was called um, cubism. His style was the cubism. He's representing the nude women, but also there is use of this cubism which undermine the illusion of the space, but present the canvas as it truly is. There is no kind of space, but he tried to dissolve the women, the women, the curtains, and the sheets with together in order to, like, to simplify the canvas and to present the two dimensions of canvas, not creating something like a 3D or three-dimensional like space. He didn't want to create a space, but wanted to simplify the 2D or two-dimension of the canvas. So Pablo Picasso was known as a creative vacuum cleaner because he was kind of guy who would go in different studios, and he was by getting the ideas from different studios, he could come and paint, uh, um, make a paint which contained different ideas from different studio. So that's why you will see that the two women on the left side on this painting, the two women with their heads in, they represent the Rebellion sculptures from Egypt, and on the other side, on the right hand side, you will see two women in the black in African mask, which with this African mask they represent dangers. They represent danger because this time when in 20th century France was colonizing many African countries, and this African mask represent that danger where the masks were being transported from Africa to France due to the colonization of France in many African countries. In the middle, you will see women with her crossed legs and the arms rest in her back. She's actually she seems like she's lying on something, but by looking at her perpendicularly, we'll see that she's upright, but actually with her arms in the back and the crossed legs, she seems to lie on something. That is where cubism is tricky somehow, because you will see that um, uh, Pablo Picasso has tried to dissolve these women and the sheets and the curtains together in order to simplify the two dimension of the canvas. And on the bottom, you will see a table with
with the fruits, and the fruits was the symbol of sexuality. And this tape is sharpened it's sharpened and point towards these women, and these women with her arms resting in the back, which shows that actually, as we as the viewers will see that she was the one, the chosen one. It was the prostitute. So when you try to compare these two pictures, you will see that these women on the be it Olympia and these women, these young ladies of Avignon, they were actually looking at the viewers, directly to the viewers, which grabs the attention of the viewers. And both these this painting, they all represent the colonization of France, where in the Olympia it is represented by this black housemaid, and on young ladies of Avignon it is represented by this African mask worn by these women on the right hand side. So with these pictures also we will see that there is a kind of prostitution which were like common. Prostitution were common in these centuries, in the 19th centuries and the 20th centuries, where because of many bad things that happened, many people have lost their jobs, and prostitution became one of the ways that women could make money for their families. So these women of the young ladies of Avignon, they were in the prostitution, they were in the brothels where men could access them. And Olympia, she seems to be a high class prostitute with her bedroom, with the housemaid who brought her the flowers maybe from the customer, and the cards on her bed, which seems like um, she was actually a high class prostitute.
This thing. So I hope this video has helped you. Um, Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you get into many information about these sculptures and these pictures and this artwork of different artists. Thank you very much.